Welcome back to Outside Views. Nicht so ganz. Welcome back to Outside Views, and I still owe you a comment on the recent visit of Donald Trump to Scotland, and of course the US-UK deal that he commented on during his stay. And so I just picked a very short statement he gave, but it contains a little bit more we need to talk about. But let's get started with the deal.
Welcome back, and we do have President Trump there in Scotland. Let's lift up the audio.
You have to work out.
Nothing. I think it's more of a celebration than a workout. It's a great deal for both, and we're going to have a meeting on other things other than the deal. The deal is concluded.
Well, we can discuss the point with the deal is concluded. Of course, they agreed on a deal, and that what they agreed upon is concluded. But you can have a look at the BBC, for example. They did a very good summary with some interesting facts. And yeah, I know some do not like the BBC, but if you look up the details on the government websites, this is indeed a summary of what the government even posted. And they are comparing it with the EU, of course, because a lot of people, of course, mentioned the EU-US deal that was concluded in Scotland as well, but doesn't belong on this channel, to be honest. But nevertheless, there are big differences. I know that. And the differences are very often other differences than people said. But let's stick to the UK deal. Well, they get a baseline tariff rate of 10% here, and in principle you could say that it's more advantages than other countries, as for example the director of the Center for Inclusive Trade Policy has told the BBC. But there are some issues there, because that's why I said this deal, or what's in the deal, is concluded, although they're still talking about a few details. But there's a lot that is not really in the deal. But we should start with something that is in the deal, and that's the tariff on cars. Of course, cars exported from the UK to the US face a tariff of 10%, and that is lower than cars exported from the EU. But the 10% rate only applies to 100,000 vehicles a year. That is roughly the number they're exporting at the moment, so there's no potential for growth here. And every vehicle that is sold above that quota will be hit with a 25% tariff on car imports in the US. So that is higher than the 15% of the EU. And the EU sold about almost 800,000 cars in the US last year. So there's a big difference here. And the main big thing about this, the deal is concluded, is Britain is exporting a lot of pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals have not been hit with tariffs yet, but you know Trump and how he's doing it with his overall tariffs. And they are not included into the deal. And it's the same discussion in the EU, to be honest. So there's still a lot to talk about. And the steel issue from the UK still is there. That's not the 10% tariff. It's a 25% tariff. It is lower than the overall 50% tariff Trump put out to everyone who doesn't have a deal, but still much higher than the 25% tariff. And you know how important the steel industry still is in the UK. So there is still a lot to talk about. But let's listen to what Trump had to say more about this.
French President Emmanuel Macron just said that France will officially recognize the Palestinian state. What's your comment on that?
Well, that's what he does. I mean, that's fine if he does that. That's up to him. It's not up to me. I'm with the United States. I'm not with France.
And
Yeah, that was the discussion of the Gaza topic first with France, and then afterwards also Keir Starmer gave a statement on this. In my next video, we will take a look on Keir Starmer's statement because that's a very important topic. I know it's a few days ago already, but we need to discuss that, and we need to discuss the implications here. So, of course, Trump is right. France can do whatever they want to, but if that's reasonable, and for the UK to do the same, we will talk about next time. But we know what Trump
I think
said
it's
afterwards.
terrible what happened with Hamas. They tapped everybody along, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what response Israel has to that. But it's getting to be that time.
Are you concerned about the end?
Yeah, and afterwards the UK.
The deal. What is left to work out? What are the final sticking points?
I don't know. With the European Union, I think we have a good 50-50 chance. That's a lot.
What are the sticking points that you
Well,
see
I don't want to tell you what the sticking points are, but the sticking points are having to do with maybe 20 different things. You don't want to listen to all of them. Yes.
What advice are you going to have for our Prime Minister?
Yeah, and there you went to answer the question about the EU-US deal that wasn't concluded at that point when he was asked. But that's I thought this little statement was a good summary, and that's why I picked this for this video. The deal the EU struck with Trump, and so this video forces me to talk about this on this channel. So now you got your chance. The deal is not good. It's a crap deal. But with President Donald Trump in the White House, that's the best you could do. And of course, our government here in Germany is definitely not happy with that deal. Our car industry is not happy, although they have a little bit higher tariffs, but can export more cars to the US under those agreed tariffs now than the UK can. And so we will see what happens in the end with the next administration. But what Donald Trump is doing there with his tariff policy is damaging one country the most, and that is the USA. We all got hit. And we all have to deal with what he's doing there. But the people in the US will feel it the most. And look at his at the financial situation of the US now, of the rising prices there for the customers. In the end, the country harmed most will be the US. And all the investments he forces into these deals, well, the EU can cover that anyway, but just declaring investments that internally in companies were anyway agreed on, yeah, those are now the investments we do because of that deal. And so that's it, because there's a lot of investment that would have happened anyway that will cover most of that. I'm quite sure about that. It was just not announced as in any official agreements or whatever. And so, yeah, that part doesn't even hit us very hard. And with the Russian situation, we would have had to buy this, more expensive, but still liquid gas from the US anyway. That's why we built even new ports here in Germany for that, or terminals in the ports. And so, yeah, he can sell that as a victory as much as he wants, but we will see how that one ends.
About free speech. Very important to people here.
Well, it is, but I like your Prime Minister. He's slightly more liberal than I am, as you've probably heard. But he's a good man. He got a trade deal done. And, they've been working on this deal for 12 years. He got it done. It's a good deal. It's a good...
Sorry, but I even couldn't stop myself at the point. He's slightly more liberal than I am. I think that's with all the with all the stuff being sent out on social media, that still is one of the biggest underestimations I've ever heard, if that's correct English even. He's slightly more liberal than Sorry. Yeah, it's nice to have fun at work, but yeah. And he got a trade deal done with the US that no one could before. Yeah, nobody wanted to strike a deal like that, but they were forced now, and will still be worse for the US than for the UK.
Good deal for the UK. So no, I'll be seeing him tomorrow evening. And this is our wonderful ambassador, as you know. He's doing a good job. He's a very, very successful man. He'll be doing a good job.
The Royal and Ancient says you're going to have to improve infrastructure at Turnberry to bring the Open back. Is that something you're going to
I don't know. The best course anywhere in the world is Turnberry. The players all want to be at Turnberry. Everybody wants to be at Turnberry, so we'll see how that works out.
The infrastructure needs to be...
And it's really fun that he's doing a lot of advertising for his golf courses. By the way, as I heard, they've shown a lot of pictures from him playing golf in Scotland on his perhaps own golf courses. Of course, my second language, English, is kind of leaving me at the moment, but it's Trump, so it's no wonder. Nevertheless, he's advertising it, and as far as we could see and hear here in our press, he was even cheating. He cheats at golf. Allegedly, I probably have to say, not to get in trouble with whoever, but seriously. I mean, boy.
I think the infrastructure in the course is good. In fact, the Royal and Ancient, I don't know if you're aware of this, they spent a lot of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, or probably into the millions of dollars, and they've laid all the wire for television and for electricity under the holes of Turnberry, so that when the Open gets there, they have it all done. They paid for that.
But we're talking about roads and railway stations.
I don't know. See, I don't know what you can do. All I can tell you is that it would be the best place anywhere in your country to have. There's no place like it. There's no place like Turnberry. It's the best, probably the best course in the world. And I would say Aberdeen is right up there also. Aberdeen's great. And while we're here, I'll be with my son, and he's going to cut a ribbon for the second course at Aberdeen, which is just about equal to the first. I mean, it's going to be a battle. It's, as you know, they're very highly rated. And the second course is great. Sean Connery helped get me the permits. If it weren't for Sean Connery, we wouldn't have those great courses.
So now a lot of people always protesting. Well, now who to blame here? Well, you cannot blame him personally anymore, but nevertheless. But it's quite interesting. You heard the short answers he gave on all the other stuff. And I'm not saying that this journalist was kind of influenced to ask this question, but he definitely took the occasion to talk a long time about that topic. If you look at the whole time of the statement that we watched, or this is press conference there, how long he answered on that golf thing. And is it over?
No, I was never briefed. No.
Did you ask how?
What are you hoping Todd Blanche interviewing Elaine Maxwell? What are you hoping that they get out of that?
I really have really nothing to say about it. She is being talked to by a very smart man, by a very good man, Todd Blanche. And I don't know anything about the conversation. I haven't really been following it. A lot of people are asking me about pardons. Obviously, this is no time to be talking about pardons. But a lot of people have asked about pardon. This is just not a time to be talking about pardons. Todd will come back with whatever he's got. You're making a very big thing over something that's not a big thing. You should be talking about, if you're going to talk about that, talk about Clinton, talk about the former president of Harvard, talk about all of his friends, talk about the hedge fund guys that were with him all the time. Don't talk about Trump. What you should be talking about.
Obviously, he doesn't want that because I know it's hard to hear the journalist questions, but I'm talking about the Epstein files, which I don't want to go into the details here. That's a thing for a million other videos that are already being made for about the US. But because it's part of this press conference, I have to really mention that part. That of course he deflected immediately to Clinton, etc., because of the Epstein files and his promises to open these for the public in his campaign. He's now even in big trouble in the US with his own voters and his own people. So that definitely is not a topic that he wants to talk about. And the pardon for that woman, I'm just going to call her that, is so something. If he would do that, I wouldn't. He is doing a lot of erratic things, but if he ever would do that, nah.
That is the fact that we have the greatest 6 months in the history of a presidency, according to a lot of people. And we had an amazing 6 months. And this is sort of an example of it. Now we're meeting with the European Union, we're also meeting with, as you know, the head of UK, Prime Minister, and I look forward to that. But we're meeting, in terms of a deal, we're meeting with the European Union, and that would be actually the biggest deal of them all if we make it.
Did you ask?
Yeah, the best 6 months in America. Look at the US economy for a second and then fact check that, but what he said. But of course, yeah, a deal with the EU is the biggest deal he's ever done. And a deal with the EU that he always said they're just trying to use us, etc. And they're not important. In other places he said that, but it's always fun. A lot of people said it's the best 6 months of our in history. He should name these, a lot of people, but of course his voters will, besides the Epstein stuff and a lot of other things, be still on his side. But nevertheless. That is so Trump. And as far as I know, and please my British viewers correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I always thought, the head of the UK is King Charles, isn't he? And not Keir Starmer.
House Republican leaders to not vote on the resolution about releasing the files?
I was never involved in that. I'm focused on making deals. I'm not focused on conspiracy theories that you are. I mean, I watch you people. It's so sad. You ought to talk about the success of our country instead of this nonsense that you talk about over and over again.
You've done an amazing job on illegal.
Attacking the press is something where a party from my country is very well at the moment as well, for a long time already. But there you see how the systems work. And Trump used that for a long time with the mainstream media stuff, etc. And you just saw it again. If he doesn't like a question, he attacks the press with it's a conspiracy theory and whatever. And he even banned press from the White House. But it's a strategy that the right-wing extremists all over Europe are also using. And that is because if they don't want to get the uncomfortable questions, then they just attack the press, and it's conspiracy theories. But we know that, by the way, my long-time viewers know that I'm a local politician here as well, and I'm running for district mayor in September. And on TikTok, the comments from those right-wing extremists below my TikTok videos, if you read those, then you know why people really need to have a very, let's say, confident mindset to be on a platform like that. And when you get under attack by the right-wing extremists and the way they do it, yeah, I get a lot of negative comments under these videos here, but I mean the way they do it and the level they do that. I will not repeat any of that, but you need to have strong nerves for that one. or that's why I understand that some people I stay away from social media of that kind because I cannot stand it. Well, guys, I can stand that.
Migration in America. A lot of people here are very worried about the situation. Record numbers.
Well, I say two things to Europe. Stop the windmills. You're ruining your countries. I really mean it. It's so sad. You fly over and you see these windmills all over the place, ruining your beautiful fields and valleys and killing your birds. And if they're stuck in the ocean, ruining your oceans. Stop the windmills. And there's a couple of things I could say, but on immigration, you better get your act together. You're not going to have Europe anymore. You got to get your act together. And we, as you know, last month we had nobody entering our country. Nobody. Shut it down. And we took out a lot of bad people that got there with Biden. Biden was a total stiff. And what he allowed to happen, but you're allowing it to happen to your countries. And you got to stop this horrible invasion that's happening to Europe. Many countries in Europe. Some people, some leaders have not let it happen. And they're not getting the proper credit they should. I could name them to you right now, but I'm not going to embarrass the other ones.
That's always so nice that I get to the other points, but he is always only hinting people and never naming them. But by the way, the windmills in the ocean are, by the way, the best solution we could get. Unfortunately, here in Germany, we don't have the electric lines to transport everything from the North Sea to the rest of the country. Otherwise, it would be much easier to do it offshore than onshore. And in the end, we will need them, of course, to reach our carbon dioxide levels that we want to have, etc. The way we're doing it is sometimes wrong, and it needs adjustments, but we still need those things. And the bird killing is something, that's why you look where you put them. About migration, by the way, of course, that's his famous topic, and the way he's doing that we can discuss that very much, but just to say, in the first half of 2025, immigration in Germany, not the immigration with visas, I mean the irregular immigration, was cut by half. Just saying about that immigration topic.
But stop this immigration is killing Europe. And the other thing, stop the windmills, killing the beauty of your countries. Thank you very much, everybody.
Immigration and windmills. So that's the end of it. Is so the only two topics he has to tell Europe at the moment when he was discussing, still discussing the trade deal with the EU. It's quite interesting. But I, from time to time, take the chance to talk about Trump here on this channel when it has connections to the UK. And at that point, he was in Scotland, of course. And it's always so interesting. But it's always interesting to see how he's working. And at the same time, when you see how he's working, when you think about this, you still cannot stop to wonder why so many people fall for these strategies. I mean, I see it. I mentioned the comments below my TikTok videos before. Those people are always saying Germany, 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 and Germany first, like the stuff he's doing. But their German is so crap. I know, don't feed the trolls, so I do not answer to those comments, even if I would love to do that. But you really shouldn't feed the trolls. But their grammar, their spelling and everything is so bad. And they are always proud to be German. Then finally learn German. And I see the same, by the way, with right-wingers in the UK. Guys, if you're proud of your country and want your country first and all this shite, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word on YouTube, by the way. Yeah, non-native speaker. Nevertheless, then learn your language and learn to write in your own language, for heaven's sake. and the people following him here are not much different either. So that's something that's always so weird as well. Nevertheless, that was the little thing I wanted to do today, and he gave me a few topics to talk about. But the next time we will talk about Starmer's Gaza statement, because I didn't have the time to do that before, and the next video after that will be Nigel Farage's reaction to that. So that's a very important topic, and because of all the developments, I really need to do that. So in the next video, we'll talk about Starmer and Gaza. And if you want to see another video right now, the next one is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.